Jeffery Kuhner, a respected journalist from the Washington Times and a Croatian patriot who has written many articles educating the American people about Croatia, our history, war in the Balkans, the injustice of the ICTY, and imprisonment of our generals. Due to scheduling conflicts, he could not attend our protests, but sent a statement to Robert Pribanic, who had the privilege of meeting him last week. Please welcome Robert Pribanic.
This is a statement from Jeffery Kuhner. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us, but he sent us a statement. I am sorry I cannot be here today. However, for the record, it must be stated, the conviction of General Ante Gotovina is a travesty of justice. An innocent man has been sold down the river and has lost his freedom and good name because of a politicized, unaccountable kangaroo court in The Hague, Netherlands. The United Nations and the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia should be ashamed of themselves. Numerous media outlets, such as the Washington Times, the Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, and the Jerusalem Post, that have investigated the Gotovina case, concluded that he is innocent of any wrongdoing. In fact, he is not a war criminal, but the very opposite. A great war hero and Croatian patriot. The ICTY is deliberating, politicizing his decision, especially on the Gotovina case, in order to appease Belgrade's demand that there be moral equivalence on both sides of the Balkan Wars during the 1990s. The ICTY is trying to rewrite history, to blame both Croatia and Serbia as equally culpable. This has been the demand from Belgrade since the early 1990s. This is more than a historical nonsense. It is a direct attempt to criminalize and delegitimize the Croatian state, its national sovereignty and international borders. The Gotovina conviction paves the way for the possible restoration of a greater Serbia. This is why Croatians and Croatian Americans of all political stripes must not only condemn the ICTY bogus conviction, but demand that General Gotovina come home immediately. That Zagreb end its unconditional cooperation with The Hague and all remaining cases be transferred to Croatia's domestic courts. On August 4th, 1995, Croatian forces led by General Gotovina launched a lightning military offensive known as Operation Storm. The military action was fully backed and supported by the United States and the Clinton administration. As I and numerous other Western journalists have fully and thoroughly documented, the United States armed, supplied, and helped train Croatian military forces for the offensive. The Clinton administration gave Operation Storm the green light and even provided General Gotovina with key intelligence and satellite information as the offensive was taking place. When the operation ended, U.S. officials praised the Croatian army and General Gotovina for a spectacular, professional, and legitimate military offensive. He was toasted in Washington and praised in European capitals. And the reasons were simple and overwhelming. For nearly 3.5 years, Serbian paramilitaries backed by the Yugoslav army waged a brutal war of aggression against Croatia and Bosnia. In Croatia, Serbian rebels systematically murdered nearly 20,000 civilians, ethnically cleansed over 180,000 Croatians, and annexed nearly a third of Croatian territory. Entire cities, such as Vukovar, were razed to the ground. Dubrovnik was mercilessly shelled. Catholic churches were destroyed. Women were deliberately raped, and thousands of homes were burned and plundered. Serbian dictator Slobodan Milosevic sought to forge an ethnically pure Greater Serbia, a vast empire stretching from Danube to the Adriatic. In neighboring Bosnia, Serb forces were committing genocide against Bosnian Muslims and Croatians, killing over 200,000 civilians, ethnically cleansing nearly 2 million people and annexed nearly 70% of country's territory. In the summer of 1995, Serbian paramilitaries led by Radovan Karadzic and General Ratko Mladic overran Srebrenica, butchering nearly 8,000 Bosnian men and boys. This was the single greatest massacre in Europe since the end of World War II. Milosevic was now close to attaining his genocidal dream of a Greater Serbia. Bosnian Serb forces were closing in on the northwest town of Bihać. Had they conquered the city, it would have made Srebrenica look like a Sunday picnic. Operation Storm did more than restore Croatia's territorial integrity. It delivered a decisive defeat to Milosevic's fascist, imperialist aims. Bihać was saved. A humanitarian nightmare was averted. Serbian forces were crushed, and the balance of power was decisively shifted against Milosevic. Only one thing made that possible: General Gotovina and the Croatian army. He should have been given a Nobel Peace Prize. Instead, he has been betrayed. Croatian veterans have been betrayed. Croatia has been betrayed. It's time to say enough is enough. Croatia will not and should not allow the dignity and justice of its homeland war to be criminalized by ignorant, smug, and arrogant judges in The Hague who care only to advance their ulterior political agenda. What is occurring is not only a crime against General Gotovina and the Croatian people, but against all those who died at the hands of Greater Serbia. Truth and justice demand that Operation Storm be celebrated, not slandered. If the cowardly politicians in Zagreb will not say it, then I will. Croatia was the victim. Serbia was the aggressor. Croatia was right. Serbia was wrong. And General Gotovina has no business being compared to mass murdering thugs such as Milosevic, Karadzic, and Mladic. The Croatian people have rightly had enough. They are craving principled leadership. It's time to put Croatia first. In the Friday, June 17th edition of the Washington Times, I will have a major column that will discuss the emergence of a new broad-based Croatian patriotic movement. One that will shake The Hague to its very foundations. The enemies of Croatia have had their way for too long. We have heard from them. Soon, they will hear from us. Thank you. And may God bless you, Croatia, and the Croatian people. I would like to thank Jeffery Kuhner for this powerful statement.